as we start to continue this back to school month, here's something for you to think about. Imagine going into the post office and seeing these crimes on those 10 most wanted flyers. Classroom edition. Burping. Doodling. Throwing a tantrum. Bad behavior to be sure, but is it worthy of arrest at 5 years old? Everything that's listed, that Chris Cuomo listed back in 2012, almost 10 years ago, are crimes that got kids handcuffed by police. Now, of course, we want law and order in our classrooms. But does it come with a price? Here's Chris Cuomo.
Bad things can happen at school. Guns, drugs, bullying.
As you can see in all those videos on the internet, classrooms run amok.
So it is for good reason that more and more police are on the beat in hallways and classrooms across the country. But in this climate of controlling behavior, have we gone too far? Case in point, the Texas girl's in the news right now for getting spanked.
After she got caught helping another student cheat, Taylor got a paddle to the backside.
Too hard, their mothers say, by a male vice principal.
Giving her a swat behind closed doors? That is creepy.
Yep, spanking, still legal in schools in 19 states. The 9-year-old in Gastonia, North Carolina, suspended for sexual harassment because, get this, he was overheard telling a friend,
I said Miss Taylor was cute.
his teacher was cute. The school later apologized and forced the principal to retire. And this video stunned the nation in 2005.
Remember the 5-year-old girl handcuffed by St. Petersburg, Florida police for throwing a tantrum in preschool? How can this be? Advocates say that combination of cops and kids in the classroom is having all kinds of unintended consequences. Some of them so ridiculous. You literally can't make this stuff up.
Your daughter's school decided to have her arrested?
When she was just 12 years old, Alexa was arrested in her New York City middle school, searched, handcuffed, taken away by 4 of New York's finest.
Had you ever been in a police station?
No.
Had you ever been arrested?
No.
Alexa's now 15, but remembers her crime like it was yesterday. Doodling on a desk, with an erasable marker, no less.
So you wrote on the desk. It's not like pulling a knife on somebody, but you're not supposed to write on the desk, true?
Yes.
Are you a graffiti artist?
No.
Did you used to spray paint right all over the walls in school?
Never.
Were you known as that?
No.
Alexa, like some funny tag name that you had that you used?
No.
Alexa had the very bad luck to be attending a school with a zero tolerance for graffiti. And, as her mother would tell you, a similar score in common sense. She says the school officers search her, make her take off some of her clothes. Then, they don't just call her mother, Moraima Camacho. They call the cops from the precinct across the street.
When I saw the police officer go for the handcuffs, and I said, you gotta be kidding me.
So they arrest your daughter, they put her in handcuffs. Like a thug.
Right. And she was not resisting arrest.
Turned me over and hands behind my back.
And you got handcuffed?
Metal handcuffs.
At 12?
Yes.
For doodling on a desk?
Erasable marker.
She was crying. She was so scared.
Maybe you find it hard to understand how a little girl gets arrested for writing on a desk. After all, it's not like she perpetrated some heinous crime, something really inexcusable like illegal burping.
I burped and I said, excuse me. She said to quit talking, I'm disrupting.
Francisco Montano is 15 now, plays baseball. He's a slugger. But 2 years ago, when he was 13 in the 7th grade at Cleveland Middle School in Albuquerque, New Mexico, he says he got busted for burping. The school and the police say it was more than that. He was disrupting the class and refused to obey the teacher. And for that, he got arrested.
Officer came up to me. He said because I was disrupting the educational process, he handcuffed me and he drove me to the detention center.
Then the detention center called his mother, Annette Montano.
And he said, our son was arrested and detained for belching in class. I said, are you seriously telling me he's in jail for burping? And he said, yeah, that's what it looks like to me now.
Francisco was never prosecuted, Instead, he's now suing the school and the police. The Albuquerque police say they only make arrests if the disruption is so bad the teacher can't teach and students can't learn. America's Most Wanted? They are not, says civil rights advocate Judith Brown Deannis.
It is ridiculous. It is extreme discipline. We have gone over the top with this, and instead of teaching children the right behaviors, instead of nurturing them, we're hauling them off in handcuffs.
Francisco Negron is with the National School Boards Association.
I don't think there's a public school to prison pipeline, and I certainly don't think that the presence of school resource officers is in some way contributing to that.
We know there are some bad things going on in our schools. There's gang activity, heavy drug activity, bullying in the extreme where the violence is real, and maybe you have to make sure that those kids get pulled out.
But that's not what we're talking about. Everyone wants safety in the schools. We want discipline in our schools, but we don't need to see our children put into the juvenile justice system for very minor behavior that could have been handled by a parent.
An Education Department civil rights survey earlier this year shows nearly 100,000 kids arrested in schools. In New York, Alexa, our doodler, fought back. She sued the city.
This is not about the money. We don't want this to happen again to any other child.
While admitting no wrongdoing, the city paid Alexa a six-figure settlement. The criminal charges were dropped, and the case is sealed. But that arrest is still on Alexa's record.
She has an arrest record.
Her attorney, Joseph Rosenthal, says the school's wrong will haunt Alexa for years to come.
For the rest of her life, she has to say, yes, I was arrested.
That was a horrible ending. Our focus this afternoon: suspended from school. A bit later, I'm going to tell you about a teacher who was fired for breaking up a fight with a broom. It's all about violence in our schools a bit later on. Also later on, the House Subcommittee, the Texas Committee met yesterday to discuss that new video footage from that police dash cam. Well, that for you later on, but when we come back, suspended from school. Look at students who got suspended from school for very obvious reasons. We'll be right back. Up front today, suspended from school. Our focus throughout this back to school month is kids being suspended from school. Earlier, we showed you some people who have been suspended from school. One was for telling the teacher she was cute. Another was suspended and arrested for belching in class. The other was arrested for doodling on the desk with an erasable marker. But now I want to look into some students who have been suspended. These may be repeats. Now, if you remember 2 years ago, I told you about a student who was suspended for posting a picture in the bathroom. But it wasn't just her taking a selfie in the bathroom. She posted a picture on Facebook of a discolored water. Why would she get suspended? Watch.
You're free.
Took a picture of just some water coming out of a faucet, posted it on Twitter complaining about it. She never imagined what would happen next. Hazel Juco says when she saw discolored water coming from the sink at school, it upset her.
I just took a picture of it, and then 4th hour is my newspaper class, and I went and talked about it with them.
She posted the picture on Facebook and Twitter. Why?
I always hope that something good will happen. We'll somehow have someone who wants to help us with money, because our school obviously doesn't have money.
A short time later, she got called down to the office at John Glenn High in the Wayne Westland School District.
She told me that I was being suspended for 3 days, OSS, for taking a picture. It's inappropriate use of electronics in the restroom. And everyone in my school, every girl takes selfies in the bathroom and makes it their profile picture on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and no one has gotten in trouble.
Dozens of students protested by tweeting bathroom pictures they took without getting in trouble. I called Wayne Westland Superintendent Dr. Michelle Harmala. She looked into it and says she found out high school administrators made mistakes. For one, they didn't report the water issue to maintenance, so she did.
So I reached out to them, They sent a plumber out right away. We do have a piece of the pipe that leads to the faucet that was corroding and needs to be replaced, so that's underway right now.
Dr. Harmala says the rule against cell phones in bathrooms aims to prevent inappropriate pictures of people, not building issues, and the punishment is inappropriate.
She's going to make sure this out-of-school suspension is taken off your record.
Oh, yes, I'm so happy for that.
What does that mean to you?
That means a lot to me.
Dr. Harmala says what's important to her is that people learn from the mistakes that were made. She also says that students, if they see a problem in one of their buildings, there's actually an app for that. They can find it at the Wayne Westland Community Schools website, and they can actually take pictures of building problems and send it through that app, and then maintenance will fix it. Reporting live, Kim Russell, 7 Action News.
Wow,
Wow. That's really helpful. And it needs to happen. You shouldn't be taking photos. First of all, you should not be taking photos in the bathroom. There's an inappropriate use of electronic devices, like what she said. Let me tell you something. I've seen people who have been taking inappropriate pictures in the bathroom, and they've never gotten in trouble. They probably never gotten in trouble because of that behavior. And let me tell you, I never took a picture in the bathroom because, as she said, it was an inappropriate use of an electronic device, according to the handbook. Now imagine this. Your teacher goes off on one of your friends. So you record the incident. Now what happened now? Now imagine going to the office and realizing it's against the rules to record people without consent. That's what one student did. She should be a hero. But why was she suspended for recording a teacher? Take a look. Because let me tell you something. I never audio recorded a teacher. I never videotaped a teacher. I never did those things. And if I did, I'd probably be sent to jail for recording without consent. Watch.
In fifth grade, you acting like the smallest one. I wonder what your mom looks like.
Only on 5, a St. Lucie County student says she was suspended this week for trying to defend a classmate.
The 11-year-old says she took a recording of her teacher allegedly bullying another student.
News Channel 5's Megan McRoberts has more on why that student at Samuel Gaines Academy is now being punished. Megan?
Well, Kelly, it seems anymore most students do bring a cell phone with them to school, and they keep them with them while they're in the classroom.
One student says she used her cell phone to record audio of what she says depicted her teacher bullying another student. She thought she was doing the right thing, but she says the school said her video was illegal.
11-year-old Brianna Cooper has good grades and works hard at Samuel Gaines Academy in Fort Pierce. But a video on her phone got her suspended for 5 days.
I thought I did the right thing.
Brianna says one of her science teachers was being mean to a student, so she took out her cell phone and started recording what she says were threats by her teacher to a classmate.
Don't let the size fool you. I will drop you. Yeah, right. You don't know me. That's all I'm telling you. So don't give me no look.
Brianna says the teacher had been mean to students before. This time she wanted to prove it.
You think that they would actually believe a student over a teacher?
Biggest kid in fifth grade, you acting like the smallest one. I wonder what your mom looks like.
You don't speak to children, let alone your students, like that.
Brianna says she turned the recording into a teacher wanting to defend her classmate, only to get called to the principal's office and suspended. The school telling her it was illegal to record a teacher without them knowing.
I never had anybody tell me you cannot record.
She thought she was doing a good thing. She's 11 years old. She doesn't know the law.
Law enforcement says recording someone can be legal if there is not an expectation of privacy. In this case, Brianna's mother, Cassie Faulkner, says the school told her there is an expectation of privacy, even in a large classroom. Faulkner worries her daughter's suspension sends the wrong message to other students.
Pretty much saying to students is, if you think anything is wrong, don't try and do anything about it.
Now, Faulkner says she's also worried because she says her daughter is suspended during the day. She says kids at her school are prepping for the Florida Standards Assessment. We did reach out to the school district for a comment, but they say they have no comment right now as there is an open investigation. Reporting live, Megan McRoberts, WPTV News, Channel 5. Tonight.
Wow. When we come back, a student who was suspended for attending in-person classes on remote learning days. This was 2 years ago when the pandemic hit. We'll have that for you when we return. And also, yesterday the committee talked about the new video that was leaked. We'll have that for you coming up. I want to bring you up to date on Uvalde. As you know, yesterday the committee held meetings about the videos that were released to the public. One was from the security camera at the school. The other was from the body cam of the police officer. Now there's new updates. Like 2 fathers of Uvalde school shooting victims did not answer to that meeting. Take a look at this. Take a look at this.
Was, you know what, another emotional day for families and the entire Uvalde community. Our Aniela Ruiz joining us live now. And Aniela, you have been there several times since that May 24th day and through the weekend. What did you see and what did you hear from families today?
Xavier, the frustration for these families continues after watching these videos and after getting the report today. The families tell me they know there was failure, but now they're asking for accountability.
It was yet another day filled with lots of anger and frustration for the families of Uvalde. For almost 8 weeks, they've been waiting for answers to try and figure out what happened inside the school on that terrible day. Sunday, they went to the junior college to finally meet with the Texas House Committee members to discuss the investigation.
Hopefully, after all the facts come out and all the information is collected, that they'll find who was to be held responsible for that, and we'll start the hearing process.
But some parents weren't allowed past the door. Turns out they weren't on a list.
I was really mad. I told them there that I was father to one of the deceased, and they said that my name wasn't on the list and I wasn't welcome there, that I had to get out, and I don't know who was overseeing that, but it's not right. I'm mad. I feel like they're making a mockery of me being a parent or the relationship that I have with my daughter, and I'm super mad about it.
Emery Joe Garza's dad wasn't the only one that was kicked out today. Annabelle Rodriguez's dad also was not allowed inside.
Ask you what happened to my baby, and now I'm not going to know what happened, because I wasn't on the list.
When we asked the mayor of Uvalde why some parents weren't allowed inside, this is what he had to say.
You're asking me something that you need to be talking to them and to the rest of the family. I have no control over that.
So who's inviting these families to these events?
The families made the list of who was coming to that deal.
So the families get to pick and choose who gets information?
It was immediate family that were allowed there. Again, you're asking me something that I can't tell you on the parents.
They're telling me they're pointing fingers at you, so that's what
point the fingers at me.
But again, the families left with one goal in mind.
Somebody needs to be held accountable. Who that is, I don't know. We're going to find out.
And again, these families continue to push for accountability. They tell me they will attend all the meetings necessary to get that, even if they get kicked out. And by the way, tomorrow there is a school board meeting where we expect to see another packed house. Reporting live in Uvalde, Aniela Ruiz, KHOU 11 News.
And we'll have that for you on Game Break Wednesday. When we come back, there's more students who are suspended from school as our Back to School Month continues. Don't go away. Imagine this. Imagine this. 2 years ago, you were told that one of the groups that you weren't allowed to do in-person learning, so you just do online learning. Then you come in the next day. The day you go in, it's like you got suspended for coming on a remote learning day. That's exactly what happened almost 2 years ago when the pandemic hit. Take a look.
A high school student on Long Island is fighting his school's plan for a hybrid of in-person and remote learning. He wants to attend school every day, so he showed up for class this morning, even though he was supposed to log in from home. And now he's facing the consequences. Long Island reporter Kristen Thorne is live at Mastic Beach with more. Kristen?
Sade, this is a new one. A kid being suspended for wanting to attend school. Maverick Stowe says he knew when he showed up to William Floyd High School here this morning he most likely was going to face some disciplinary consequences, but he says he was willing to take the risk.
17-year-old Maverick Stowe lived up to his name today.
I was suspended for 5 days today for insubordination as a result of wanting to go to school.
The William Floyd High School senior was supposed to be a remote learner today, but he showed up at school because he believes that's the best place for him to be.
Principal said that I needed to leave, and I said, well, no, I think I need to go to class. This is during class time, and he's teaching.
Maverick made it to the rest of his classes, but at the end of the day, the school told him he was suspended.
My son is being suspended because he wants to be in school.
Maverick's mother and father support their son's desire to go to school 5 days a week, not on a hybrid schedule.
Kids need to be in school every day. Virtual learning is not learning.
He's a very smart kid. He knows what he's doing. And when he said this is how we wanted to handle things, we were like, then go for it.
The school district said in a statement to Eyewitness News that its hybrid schedule ensures social distancing mandates set forth by New York State, and that it's imperative students attend school in person only on their scheduled day.
The virus doesn't discriminate on Mondays or Tuesdays or Thursdays or Fridays. That's not how it works.
The district said students who refuse to adhere to their scheduled in-person days and or flagrantly disregard directives to leave school grounds and cause a disruptive environment for other students will face disciplinary actions.
I was going to school, like students should be going to school, and I think that a 5-day suspension is out of line.
I asked Maverick the reaction his peers had to seeing him in school today, and he said most of them were supportive, although some did call him irresponsible, reckless, selfish. The William Floyd School District says it would want nothing more than to have all the students back in school 5 days a week, but they say it's just not possible at this time.
Wow. Now keep in mind, this was during the pandemic. During the pandemic. If you're in a hybrid model and you weren't allowed to go in, that's their choice. You don't cry to the media saying I got suspended for 5 days because of the hybrid crap. Now, let's see, whatever we focused on. Now, just 5 months ago, a 10-year-old was suspended for not wearing a mask. And supporters came in. Watch.
Steve, 9:07 is our time right now, and there's a protest today in Fairfax County over the public school mask mandate. It's in support of a little girl suspended from school multiple times for not wearing her mask.
Bob Barnard is live outside Waynewood Elementary in Alexandria with that story.
That was
Bob,
back in February.
Hey, Jeanette, Holly, good morning to you. Yes, everybody's arriving. Classes start at 9:15 this morning. And they're not calling this necessarily a protest as much as a show of love and support. And you can see there are about a dozen people here on the sidewalk in front of the school, standing here bravely in the rain to support Brona and Neely McAllister. This is Brona, the student who's been suspended a few times for not wearing her mask. Neely, tell us, what is the point you're trying to make? Because Brona's home, there's no virtual learning. It's just kind of take your work and try to keep up.
That is correct. But we've had enough. When Governor Youngkin declared mask optional, we decided as a family that we would exercise that right.
And the school system says, however, and they are suing with other school systems, the governor, that you still need to wear it for now. Knowing the consequences, why are you still pushing this?
Because my daughter doesn't want to wear a mask to school. She wants to be able to speak and heard when she speaks. She wants to be able to understand her teacher. She wants to go to class and have friends and go to birthday parties. And they're preventing that from happening. And so I told her I would support her regardless. That whatever she decided, that I would support her in that. And if the consequence of that was suspension, then so be it.
Really? So this is Brona's call in a sense. Can I ask her?
Yes.
Brona, is this, why do you feel so strongly?
Because whenever I wear a mask in school, it's hard to hear my teacher, and it's hard to talk to people, and sometimes it's hard to breathe in it.
And Neely, tell me, was there a breaking point for you? Because we've been doing this, unfortunately, for almost 2 years.
We have. The breaking point was when Governor Youngkin declared mask optional. You know, we finally had a governor that had some sense, and we wanted to follow that.
You know, it's controversial, obviously. I know some of the people have said we'd like Fairfax County Police out here because you've been hassled. Just standing here myself, people were giving me a hard time, you know, because they knew why we were going to be here. Any concern about that, the divisiveness of this issue?
No, that is not my doing. The people, my friends who are here to support us are not, that's not our intent. There are no signs, no one is yelling or screaming. We're not trying to insist people change their mind. But more or less, I'm going to walk to the school. She will once again be suspended. Although my hopes is that Ms. Kasheen will make the right choice and let my daughter into school.
Thank you, Neely. Thank you, Brona. Ms. Kasheen is the principal here. And as we leave you guys, I want you to just kind of see the people that are here, standing out here. Fairfax County says, look, if you're not wearing your mask, you will be suspended. There is no virtual option. You will be at home. It's a 2-day suspension now for each violation. Loudoun County on Wednesday had 29 students home because of a refusal to wear a mask. Last week, Fairfax County, the best numbers they could give us was something like 26 students were sent home, not necessarily suspended, last week for refusing to wear masks at school, guys.
All right, so
there goes Brona and Neely heading across the crosswalk to school to be suspended again.
Yeah, still a hot debate, and as we can see here, people passionate on either side. Bob, thank you. That brings us to today's Fox 5 Live Instant Poll. We want to know if you think there should be a virtual learning option.
So that poll, 74% should there be a virtual learning option for students suspended for not wearing a mask? 74% said yes, 26% said no. Again, this was months ago. Look, if a child does not want to wear a mask, then the parents have to be supportive. If I don't want to wear a mask, I support my own decision. That's why I carry a mask in my back pocket when I go to work. When I go to work, I have a mask in my back pocket. I don't hide the fact that schools want to sue the governor because of this, and that, and the other. There is no excuse. If the governor says you have the option, you have the option. You can create any policy you want. That's not any kind of policy you want. That's not the issue. The issue is you don't enforce a mask mandate on the child because it's hard for them to breathe, and it's hard for them to talk, and hard for them to hear. These kids will grow up in this world with everybody here trying to understand, that they can't hear. Matter of fact, here's the last two. Students were suspended 2 months ago for a protest.
High school students who were suspended for wearing Black Lives Matter shirts say they will sue the Floyd County School District. That lawsuit comes after those students at Coosa High School say they planned a peaceful protest in support of George Floyd's family seeking justice. But they claim they were told by school officials their behavior would not be tolerated on campus. The court complaint challenges why another group of students was reportedly allowed to freely speak their minds.
White students were allowed to speak their mind. They were allowed to wave around Confederate flags, reenacting the murder of George Floyd and making horribly racist statements to other students, and yet they weren't disciplined for any of that.
Attorneys for the students filed the complaint in U.S. District Court in Rome this morning. Fox 5 reached out to the Floyd County School District, but they declined to comment on that pending litigation.
Suspending black students and now us white students? That's racist. That is discrimination right there. Suspending black students but not white students? That is racist. That right there, that is racial profiling. I'm just thinking, it ain't racial profiling if this and that and the other. It ain't racial profiling. It's not racial profiling if you just suspend both colors. Only if you get it right. Ain't like the teams on the Albany House going, you want to come get it? That's racist. That is racial profiling. Bitch! It ain't racial profiling if you get it right. Only if you get it wrong. Only if you get it wrong. Now, last year, a cheerleader was suspended for an explicit Snapchat comment. And if I had time, I'd play it for you. But we're going to save that for Give Me a Break Wednesday as our Back to School Month continues. With also the updates from the school board from Uvalde and a teacher who got suspended for breaking up a fight with a broom. That's crazy. That's all coming up on Wednesday. That's all for this edition of Give Me a Break. That's all for this edition of Give Me a Break Monday. We'll see you again for Give Me a Break Wednesday. For all of us here at YouTube, good night.